Hi, it's Grandmoose. Today we're going to read a bigger and a longer book because you guys are getting up there, so it's time to get some more serious ones. And of course, we have more boys than girls, so we've asked for more boy books. So this one is a story about a dog called Woof'S Scary Adventure. Ready? The hands on the clock seemed to move extra slow. Mark Peterson yawned sleepily at his desk. School won't be out for another hour, he thought. He was trying to pay attention to Mrs. Thomas, but his mind kept wandering. He was thinking of cookies, baseball games, and his dog Woof. Mark, Miss Thomas called out, can you answer the question I asked? Mark looked startled. He hadn't heard a word she said. I don't know, he replied. I guess I wasn't listening very well. Mrs. Thomas raised her eyebrows. Pay closer attention, please. Yes, ma'am, Mark replied. See that? Just then, Mr. Hutchins, the school principal, came into the room. He whispered first to Miss Thomas, then turned and spoke to the class. Hello, boys and girls, he said. I have an important announcement. The weatherman says there's a chance we may have a tornado this afternoon. In case it does come, we must be prepared. I want everyone to quietly follow Miss Thomas. She will take you to the safest part of the building. Do exactly what she tells you to do. Mark looked out the window. Sure enough, dark, threatening clouds were rolling across the sky. 6-year-old Mark had never seen a tornado, but Grandma Peterson had told him about them. She said tornadoes are like big whirlwinds that move very fast. They often destroy trees and property. Sometimes even cars and houses get lifted off the ground. People have to go to cellars or basements for safety because tornadoes are very dangerous. Miss Thomas asked the class to listen carefully. Then she started calling names. John, Julie, Mark. Your mothers have come to take you home, she said. Everyone else, follow me. Mark could see his mother standing in the hallway. He quickly gathered his things and went to meet her. On their way down the hall, Mark's 10-year-old sister, Chrissy, joined them. They hurried down the stairs and outside to the sidewalk. Mrs. Peterson and the children began walking home. Clouds were boiling over their heads, and it was getting windy. Leaves and papers were tumbling down the street. They finally arrived at their house. We need to be careful in case the tornado does come, said Mother. Let's go to the cellar for protection. Your father is on his way home from work. He'll be here shortly. We can't leave Woof outside, said Mark. I'll go get him. Quickly, Mark ran to the backyard to find his dog. There was no response. Mark then hurried inside the house. Woof, he called, running from room to room. Here, boy. But Woof did not come. Mark called his name again, and there was still no response. Where's Woof? Asked Chrissy. I don't know, but he's not here, exclaimed Mark. Have you seen him, Mom? No, Mrs. Peterson replied. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen him all day. Go check the backyard one more time. In a few minutes, Mark returned, looking very unhappy. Woof is gone, he said sadly. I've searched everywhere. I'm sorry, Mark, said Mother, but we really must go to the cellar. We'll wait there for your father. It was almost an hour before Mr. Peterson got home. By that time, the sky had become very dark. Lightning flashed and thunder rolled through the clouds. Mark and Chrissy watched as Father struggled to get out of the car. Even though he was tall and strong, he was barely able to walk against the wind. Over here, Dad, Mark called. We're in the cellar. Are you all right? Asked Chrissy, holding the door open for him. I think so, said Mr. Peterson. I sure am glad to be home. Traffic was horrible because of the storm. Is everything okay here? Not really, answered Mark. Woof is lost somewhere in the storm. I looked all around the house, but I couldn't find him anywhere. Maybe he didn't hear us call his name, said Chrissy. Can we go look for him again? I'm sorry, replied Father. It just isn't safe. We will just have to be patient and wait here. Sadly, Mark and Chrissy obeyed their father and sat down. They would hear tree limbs scraping against the house as the wind howled outside. I'm so worried, said Chrissy. I hope Woof's all right, wherever he is. God knows where Woof is right now, said Father. More importantly, he has control over this storm too. Remember the Bible story you learned in Sunday school? Jesus was in the boat and his disciples. When a storm suddenly came, he just spoke the words, "Peace, be still," and the wind and waves obeyed him. So you see, there is nothing too difficult for God to handle. Let's pray for Woof, said Mother. And about the storm, one by one, the Petersons asked God to take care of Woof. Then they prayed for their own safety. Afterwards, everyone felt better, but they were still concerned. Mark and Chrissy loved Woof very much. He was like a member of their family. They knew their special friend was out there lost, scared and alone, and they were right. On the corner of Maple Street, a shaggy-haired dog was struggling against the wind. It was Woof. He had wandered several blocks from home and couldn't get back. Oh, where are Mark and Chrissy, he thought. How am I going to get home? A huge tree fell beside him. He ran under the branches and huddled near the trunk. Woof didn't understand what was happening. Back at the Petersons, Mark and Chrissy were watching the storm. Father had opened the cellar door just enough to look out. Lightning flashed and thunder shook the ground. It began to pour down rain. Suddenly, the wind grew stronger and the sky became black. The Petersons could hear a loud roar like a freight train. Then they saw it. Look, Mark shouted. A tornado. He pointed to a funnel-shaped cloud in the distance. Yeah, it's headed this way, added Chrissy. Father quickly fastened the cellar door. Woof peered out from under the branches of the tree. He could see the tornado too. He didn't know what it was, but it frightened him. Where could he go? He knew he had to do something quick. Just then, Woof heard a dog barking nearby. He noticed the sound was familiar. Anxiously, he strained to see through the dust and trash in the air. Why, it was Scruffy, his neighborhood friend. Scruffy was caught on the storm too, but he found shelter under the porch of an old house. Woof made his way to Scruffy's side. The two dogs huddled close together and waited for the storm to pass. Soon the giant whirlwind began to move overhead. All kinds of things were flying through the air. Trash cans and even a bicycle were sucked up into the sky. Woof felt like he was being pulled from under the porch. He was scared. He buried his head beneath his paws and closed his eyes. Was this ever going to end? Just when he thought he couldn't take it anymore, the wind suddenly stopped. The tornado was gone. There was not a sound heard in the little city of Gladstone. Woof and Scruffy cautiously left their hideaways and looked around. It was still raining, but the clouds were lighter. Woof was so happy he couldn't wait to go home to the Petersons and his nice dry doghouse. But Woof had not forgotten what Scruffy had done for him. He nuzzled his friend with his nose, then headed down the sidewalk. Scruffy looked happy too as he trotted off to his home on the next block. All around the neighborhood, people were coming out of their cellars, and so did the Petersons. Mark and Chrissy huddled, hardly noticed that their house had not blown away. They ran to the front yard, then to the back, looking for Woof. There he is, shouted Mark. Woof was huddled on the back porch, wet and shivering. He was very happy to see the children. They ran and hugged him, rejoicing that he was home and safe. Mr. and Mrs. Peterson were also glad to see Woof. Mr. Peterson patted him on the head. "We were worried about you, old boy," he said kindly. Mark and Chrissy ran to get towels to dry Woof off. They fed him his dinner, and Mother had a juicy steak bone in his bowl. But Woof didn't eat the special treat. "That's strange," said Chrissy. "Woof has never turned down a steak bone before." "He'll probably eat it later," said Father. "Let's go to bed now. It's been a long day." Before Mark and Chrissy went to sleep, they thanked Jesus for protecting them from the storm. They also thanked him for taking care of Woof. "It's nice to know God is in control," said Chrissy. "Yeah, even with something as big as a tornado," added Mark. Much later, after everyone was asleep, Woof carried the bone to Scruffy's house. The little dog was asleep, so he quietly laid it in Scruffy's bowl. It was Woof's way of saying thanks for saving his life. He looked for a moment at Scruffy, who was curled up in a little furry ball. Then he trotted home under the clear, starry sky. Grandma's has been through lots of tornadoes. Luckily, none in Tennessee just yet. Don't forget to brush your teeth. Remember, Grandma's loves you.